Hi guys, it's me, Kathy, Mrs. Handy. How are you? Hope you guys are doing really great today. I'm doing good. Mr. Handy's doing good. Rosie's doing better. And thank you for your prayers and all your kind words and thoughts and healing vibes and everything. We appreciate that very much. So I thought I would talk about Penguin 6. He has a channel on YouTube, maybe he's on other platforms, and it's, you know, like the penguin from the South Pole and or North Pole, whatever, different penguins, and it's just penguin and then SIX, and he acts like he's just like a normal everyday guy giving live streams and recorded videos, tours almost daily, maybe twice a day, from Washington, D.C. And, you know, he was out there in snowstorms and every kind of weather, freezing cold. And I think he's just part of all of our, of the plan, I guess is how you could say it. So he gives comms. And I didn't realize that at first. I just watched him as everybody else does, wondering, oh, what's up with the White House and all that. And yeah, he definitely gives comms. So I didn't even decode his whole show, but I did just a little bit of it. So I thought, you know, you guys should just watch it and see what you think, and watch the timestamps and see what he says, see what he repeats in different times. Like, is it at 35 for POTUS, you know, JFK, or 35? Is it at 55? You know, are there fives in the time? Like, is it at 5 minutes and 5 seconds? Is it at even on an even number, like at a 30, like 3 minutes and 30 seconds, something like that? Just see what you think he's talking about, because he's double talking just like President Trump. So yeah, he acts like, oh, you know, and it's edited, so it's, unless it's a live stream, but you know, he'll go by something and just like by chance, you know, and then he'll talk say a couple of phrases about it, and then later on he'll go by something else and he'll say something, and it's all kind of like he knows where he's going, he knows what he's going to say. Okay, so this is from a video that he did for on February 9th. And anyway, he said blue sky, and that really hit me, because I know Junior is looked at as Mr. Blue Sky. That's another way of looking at Junior. And blue sky is 95, and that equals emergency, roll tide, like a tsunami, faked signs, fake war, WAR, machine, and be not afraid. So that was pretty cool. And then, what did he say? Oh, and then at 1 minute and 50 seconds, so there's a 5 in there, he said it's in the 50s today, 50s tomorrow. And 5 by 5 is clear comms, and it's also Junior, JFK Junior, or JFK JR. And then at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, he said, having a little performance. He's looking at a little bandstand area that was off to the side inside the Lincoln Memorial, and it was cordoned off with tape so that people would climb on it until the performance, I guess. Anyway, so he said, oh, having a little performance. And it's like, that's what's going on. This is all a performance. So at 2:35, he said, Robert E. Lee. And the way he said it, I was like, oh, okay, Robert E. Lee, what? He wasn't going by a statue of Robert E. Lee, he just brought it up. So anyway, he said, Robert E. Lee it's 105. That equals Dow Jones, bank account, like going down, you know, it's usually in October, and that's when the bad guys always plan to have the market crash, and they knew it, and everybody'd sell in a panic, and they would buy. So don't sell when the market crashes. Okay, 105's also hammer time. We are ready sonic boom, suffering, the Bible's end, wake-up call, sudden death. Red October, remember I had a whole video about that from last October when Juan was talking about it would be like a red October. Well, I put out like a video saying, oh my gosh, like the sky is falling, and all this stuff, warning, and not thinking and remembering that everything has deltas, so it could be a year, it could be 2 years, who knows. So anyway, Red October is 105. That's Robert E. Lee. Internet, 9/11. Giant Voice. Now, Giant Voice is the code name, or the name anyway. It's not secret if I know it. Giant Voice is the name for the military's emergency broadcast alert system. So it's called Giant Voice. So that equals Red October, and it equals DEFCON 2, the world, like everywhere, green light, Chinese war, finish line, all is well, nonsense, American dream. Okay, not real, weight hat, false floppy things. And then a funny one that matches Robert E. Lee at 105 is dirty. I know I'm hard to understand. Dirty Diana. And that's a song that Michael Jackson did. And there's a video of Michael Jackson explaining that when he met Princess Diana, I don't know who he was talking to, but he was saying, oh, when I met her, she asked me if I was going to sing like that night or whatever at a concert, she would be going to it with Prince Charles and everybody. So Diana asked MJ, would he be singing the song Dirty Diana? And she was like all perky and asking him the question, because I saw the video when she asked the question, but when you see that video, you can't tell what she's saying. So then you see a different one, and Michael Jackson's explaining what she said. And he's like, oh no, I wouldn't do that. That's like, basically that's disrespectful. I took that out. And she's like, oh no, play it. Well, Dirty Diana equals what I just said. So it's like in his song, because of his song title, he's mentioning all of these things because so many people understand this simple gematria, A equals 1 through Z equals 26, like I've always said, and use gematrix.org and figure it all out and see what God tells you matches, So anyway, I think they've been given comms forever. And then Nancy Drew, speaking of Washington, D.C. So Nancy Drew gives all the other, the other Washington, D.C. info, what's going on at the White House and everywhere else. And she says this all the time. She says, Marine, like there's a Marine standing at the door. And she's saying, well, if there's a Marine at the door, that means the president, or in my view, it's the Biden or a Biden at the, is there because there's a Marine at the door. Well, okay, Marine at the door equals 166. It equals Carolyn Kennedy. Numbers are biblical because that's what gematria is. It's Bible coding. It equals, a whole bunch of stuff that goes along with what I just did. September 11, the White House, Hurricane Sally, and not necessarily Sally, but hurricane, biochemical missile, never heard of that one, but nuclear horror, evil airplane hijack, Phoenix lights, and there was, remember the Phoenix lights were like UFOs that were seen over Phoenix. You can look that up. Hoover Dam broken. Let's see. On the good side, Trump Kennedy is 166. New York nuked. The Big Bang Theory. False FLA, floppy thing, imminent, nothing happens. It's all propaganda. Disinformation. Remember, disinformation is necessary. It's going to be big time disinformation, you guys. Got to be mentally ready for this. I don't know when, but just when it looks like it's hitting the fan. It won't be. Okay, what else matches 166? Let's see. Lots of stuff about the rapture. Okay. Fly, Roths, fly, R-O-T-H-S, Transformers, blinded by the light, welcome to heaven, fast as lightning, sudden rapture, into a mountain. Now, I thought that was interesting because I keep wondering, okay, are we going straight up or are we going into a mountain? Because I've gotten a mountain thing along with this a lot. So what if the med beds are in a mountain? Like, I don't know. New life will come. Contacting aliens. Resurrection. So that all kind of went together. That was all from a Marine at the door, 166. I had woken up that morning that I wrote this, a couple of mornings ago, and I thought of, for whatever reason, God had this in my head. I have no idea. Climb Every Mountain, the song, from, what is it? The Sound of Music. So climb every mountain, the whole thing. And that's 221. And it equals the rapture is coming. And I listened to my dreams. So, I had woken up, right up, and I had heard that, like I was half awake. And it matches, I listened to my dreams. And boy, I had a good dream last night. I had John F. Kennedy was in it, a junior was in it. And it was about time travel and a bridge. And the clock was changing. And we were over rushing water because it was a big, huge, long bridge. And there was somebody having a race over the bridge. I shouldn't even go into the dream, but it was like really detailed, super, super detailed dream. Like you really remember everything. It was really cool. And he was like acting like Superman and everything. It was really cool. It's a really cool dream. Let's see. Okay. So I'm at 221 for Climb Every Mountain because of what I woke up hearing, thinking about. And behold the hand, behold the nail. So I know in the past I've talked about what's the cross. Did everything happen the way we thought? And now I'm kind of going back towards from other things that I've been getting. Like, yeah, I think it was the way we think it was. Maybe there were two of them though, more than one. Like was, I don't know. Were there two of them? Because there were the twins, so were there two, with Junior, Joseph Patrick, Kennedy Jr., and JFK twins and everything. So I don't know. Let's see. Please God, heal my children. Also matches 221. And a really cool one, because I just said, use dramatrix.org. I'm always saying that when I do my decoding. And that's what this decode matches. It says, use dramatrix.org, literally. That matches 221. And Jonathan is the Christ. He's one of them, in my opinion. Scare event necessary. And if you listen to my JFK one about all the things, he talked about a little bit more. He talked about the reset, but he also talked a lot about what was going to happen in the future. False, flappy things. So then, this is not a whole decode of this show, but it's just a little brief part. And, I'm always doing Sherlock Holmes. Well, in case I haven't said it before, I don't remember, but definitely make sure you listen to Sherlock Holmes with Greg, G-R-E-G, Wagland, W-A-G-L-A-N-D, like David. And in my opinion, for a lot of reasons, it's President Kennedy. He's got a perfect British accent. And I think he's just been there. He's been there in the past. And I'm thinking Shakespeare. So half of you I just lost, right? Half of you I just went, ah, she's a nut. I don't know. Anyway, so let's see. Yeah. So I did the 6 Napoleons. And I mean, you can watch this on with Jeremy Brett on a video. There's still comms in that. There's comms everywhere because it's Sherlock Holmes. It's full of comms. And yeah, it doesn't matter where you're listening to it really, but I just think Greg Wagland's audiobook, that's what it is. He does audiobooks, are super important because of who I think it is. And at 2346, he says, the 3 which had been sent, he's talking about the Napoleon busts. The plot is that these plaster of Paris busts were bought as like little statues, little desktop type statues, and somebody was going around smashing them, and it turns out there was something in one of them, and that's the reason they kept getting smashed, you know. Anyway, so the 3 which had been sent to Morse Hudson a year or so before had been half of a batch of 6, okay? Because we're always getting 3, but now we're getting half of a batch of 6, because I've been wondering about the feminine side of God. You know, we definitely know that there's a feminine side of God, okay? So there's 3 that are men and 3 that are women. And I'll get into that in near the end of the video. 3 male, 3 female. Okay, so, and then they said at 2417, the cast was taken in 2 molds from each side of the face. Then these 2 profiles of the plaster of Paris were joined together to make the complete bust. And that's what happened. Between the 2 of them, it became one. It became us. You know, just think about it. It's like we're all part of God. You know that, right? All of us. So just know that you're super important. I hope you all know that you're super important right now, this very moment, and always. So I decided after that, I thought, okay, I'm going to, I know it's weird, but I put my own terms into gematrix.org. Maybe I've told you that before, I don't remember. But I'll put my own things in there and I'll just say, okay, I'm going to try this phrase because it's a question that I've got, you know, or I'll think, oh, this just popped in my head. I'm just going to enter it. I don't read it anywhere or hear it anywhere. I just think, oh, I'm going to try this. So after thinking about the 3 female and 3 male, all making up God, I thought, okay, I'm going to try Jackie Christ in gematrix.org. So when you do Jackie Christ, it equals 116. And 116, you can look at it and go 1 + 1 + 6 is 8, which is God, infinity. And okay, so 116 equals Team Christ. Doesn't that make sense after what I just said? Like all of them combined, Team Christ. It all aligns. Holy light. Birth name God. So you do Jackie Christ, you come up with birth name God. Powerful. Omega Lord God. Norse gods. I get that a lot about over there, in the Norse gods. The Bible wheel. Back from the dead. Remember, Jackie's supposedly not here. She's here. Wedding bells. And you can see Jackie in a Clouseau video at a different age. She looks older. Yeah, you can look up at there's Clouseau, C-L-O-U-S, 1-S-E-A-U, because everybody always asks me, but I'm spelling it all the time. You guys should be able to find a Clouseau video. There's only 11 of them. And just look up with Jackie Kennedy Clouseau video, you know, under the Clouseau channel. And it's right there. And you'll see her. So anyway, back from the dead, female beauty. She's a chosen. Doesn't this make sense? She's a chosen. I mean, Team Christ. It's awesome. This is just awesome. Let's see, what else? 3 kings. So like 3 ladies too. There's 3 queens, 3 kings. I guess you could look at them that way. Of I am that I am. Let's see. Okay, then I tried, I'm going to try all the ladies, right? I'm going to do Carolyn Christ, or Christ Carolyn, whichever, 165. So prove the past, Christ bloodline, last trumpet, the 7th angel, Jesus spirit, the new Christ age. I bet that's what it's going to be. The new Christ age. And there's going to be a whole bunch. Okay, Carolyn Christ, 165 equals resurrection. We found Christ. Matches Carolyn Christ. Behold, Jesus is back. Amazing pattern. Matches Carolyn Christ. Amazing pattern. How about this? I just went into the whole thing about spelling Clouseau for you with 1 S. Well, if you're young, you might not know, but the Pink Panther was a series of movies from, when? The 70s, early 80s? And anyway, but there was a remake with Steve Martin. And yeah, Steve Martin is one of them. He could be a Biden too. I think he might be a Biden. I don't know. There's a whole bunch, Anyway, the Pink Panther is a match to Carolyn Christ at 165. And that's Inspector Clouseau was the character in the Pink Panther. And Lincoln Memorial matches 165, Carolyn Christ. And remember the salute to America about 3 July 4th ago? The Trump family all stood in front of the Lincoln Memorial while the jets had flown over. I think they were Lancer jets, which was JFK's code name, Secret Service code name. Okay, so then I did Melania Christ. That was 132. And that equals the living God, Omega God 7. Being God is fun, matches Melania Christ. The Most High, trumpets, presence of God. Let's see, you've got it, matches Melania Christ. Isn't that cool? You've got it. And then her maiden name matches Melania Christ. Melania. That was, I can't pronounce it. You guys can pronounce it. And Knavs. That was her maiden name. And that matches Melania Christ. Just like my made up on the spot kind of, let's do this. Let's try this one. No coincidences matches Melania Christ, 132. God in the flesh, the creators with an S. JFK Jr. is alive, matches that. 7th angel, Pink Panther. And I had just gotten that with Carolyn, wasn't it? Yeah. Something with Pink Panther, with Clouseau and the Pink Panther and all that stuff. Mother of Life matches Melania Christ. So Eve, I don't know, one of them was Eve. Donald Christ. Now, how many did I do? Let's see. I don't know if I did all of these. Yeah, I didn't do all the guys, but I did Donald Christ. 127. And let's see. Never say die. So even though it might look like he might pass on, he's not. He won't. He'll be here. Either he'll raise himself up and he'll be resurrected, or it will be fake. It's going to be one or the other. And he's not going to be gone. So whatever it is, I'm not going to worry. You know, you shouldn't worry. I'm not going to worry. Okay. Pillar of fire matches Donald Christ, or Christ Donald. And remember, God was the pillar of fire by night for the Jewish people, the people that Moses were leading out of Egypt. And and he was a cloud by day to keep them cool. So that was cool, the pillar of fire. Let's see. Donald Christ equals the escalator. And he's always talking about how we came down the escalator, you know. Okay. With our favorite first lady. And he says, okay, I'm sorry. And unbeatable info equals Donald Christ. And the ace of spades. And resurrect. Team Trump is 127, Donald Christ. Ultimate God. And death is a fallacy. Find pattern. Isn't that cool? I think it's so cool. What else do I have? I didn't even know what's on this last page. Gosh, better look at it. Let's see. Yeah, we won't, I don't need that one right now. So we'll skip that. So anyway, I thought that was cool. And I promised you guys that I would, well, I kind of promised, but when I put up that little video of Rosie, I was talking about what I'm going to get into now. And it was the audiobook with by Greg Wagland that I was talking about, with, I think I was, at the beginning, and that I think is JFK. And I won't go into all of it because it'll take too long, but I'll go to the end, near the end. And I was talking about where the med beds might be when I posted the video of Rosie. So I'm just going to kind of jump in on this decode. I mean, it's a lot, a lot longer, but okay. So let's see, where do I want to start? Okay, I'm just going to say at 38:35, so you know where I'm starting if you want to go back and look at it yourself. 38:35 on this video of the audiobook, The Blanched Soldier. So he says the other two were killed. There were three. Okay. The other two were killed. And I fainted and rolled off the saddle and rose myself up. Okay. What does that sound like? It was nightfall. A large house and many windows. And, okay. So it was a big place with many windows. And he's talking about a real place where he was in the story in Africa. And he was a soldier. And at 39:53, which is a reverse 35:53. I'm sorry. And he also said previously, he said deadly, sickening, and he said only hope. Okay, so keep that in mind. So then at 39:53, ascending the steps into a wide opened door, passing into a large room, which contained several beds. And the beds part was at 39:55. So he's going into a large place. Okay, a lot of beds in there. Then at 40:04, throwing myself down with a gasp of satisfaction upon one of them, on one of the beds, I drew the clothes over my shivering body, and in a moment I was in a deep sleep. Oh, and he also had said it was unmade, but that troubled me not at all. In other words, when he said it troubled me not at all, we're talking about the med beds. Okay, ascending, he rose himself up. I had just said, they talked about deadly, sickening, only hope. And then he said, And I rose myself up, and then ascending the steps, a large room with many beds. Okay, it's obvious what we're talking about here. And when he said troubled me not at all, means it doesn't hurt you or bother you to be there in a med bed. It was morning when I wakened. That was at 4017. He said the walls of the whitewashed dormitory, and whitewashed really struck me because in another video, it was about the Zapruder film, the Zapruder video I did about, you know, where it shows JFK supposedly being shot and everything that was all fake. Zapruder, if you want to look at that one. He mentioned whitewashed because he went into the whitewashed room and negotiated for the Zapruder film. And it was really this us negotiating for it, the good guys, you know. Anyway, and then it was edited. We edited the Zapruder film. That's what happened. So that's the way why it looked the way it did. Okay, so whitewashed equals 125. That equals John Kennedy. Doesn't that make sense? And dark to light. So every time you hear that, dark to light, from our favorite Anon, it equals John Kennedy. It equals son of light, the God twin, time travel, Spanish flu. So whenever President Trump's talking about the Spanish flu, when he brings that up, when he says Spanish flu, it also means John Kennedy. And he always says it starts in Spanish flu started in 1917. Every time he says that, and you know that if you made a mistake, somebody would correct him. You know, nobody's going to let him go out there and make the same mistake umpteen times. And the Spanish flu didn't start till 1918. And but he knows that, and he's bringing up 1917 because that's the year John Kennedy was born, and his twin brother, you know, Joseph Patrick, who became Junior. So that's why he says the Spanish flu, and that's why he says it's 1917. So he said, okay, this is a big deal. 40 minutes and 40 seconds, he says, in front of me was a dwarf-like man with a huge bulbous head. So he's a soldier. He found himself wounded during the Boer War, and he saw a building. You know, he woke up and he was staggering along, and he found a building that he could go into, and he was cold, and nobody was right there, and he laid in bed and he fell asleep, and he woke up. So when he woke up, there was a dwarf-like man with a huge bulbous head, jabbering excitedly. He's speaking in Dutch, but this man had no idea what he was saying, this soldier. So a little tiny person with a huge head, what does that sound like? Maybe an alien, right? Think about those alien movies and things that we've seen, or at least the really old ones, you know, from the, you know, way back time. They thought, you know, well, I shouldn't even say they thought. The aliens probably, some of them probably do look like that. So anyway, that's why that's in there. I'm really sure, because I think they're there manning the med beds, possibly. I know half, like I always say, at this point, I lose half of you, but if that keeps happening, it's not possible. I'm losing half of you all the time. 40 minutes and 53 seconds. Behind him stood a group of people intensely amused by the situation. So there's a big bunch of people. And he said not one of them was a normal human being. Every one was twisted, swollen, or disfigured. So they didn't look like regular people. And he was really freaked out. And then he said at 41:18, there was laughter and none could speak English. So they were talking. He didn't know what they were saying. They were laughing. they did not look normal. And there was this one, the little tiny one with a huge bulbous head. I mean, this is all in that Sherlock Holmes story, The Blanched Soldier audiobook. So then let's see, 41:35, fresh flow of blood from my wound. So he was bleeding again. So then an elderly man who was clearly in authority, and to me that's POTUS, President Trump, that wounded shoulder of yours wants looking after, this man said. And then 42:17, you are in greater danger than on the battlefield. This man just told the soldier, you're in a lot of trouble right now. And you are in the leper hospital. The leper hospital. The poor creatures had been evacuated. In other words, moved like off planet? I don't know. And they had been brought back by their medical superintendent. So brought back to that building. But you can look at it like they had been brought back by their MED, like a med bed, right? They had been brought back to life or something like that. I'm talking about double meanings here. Let's see. So he had believed, this doctor believed he was immune to the disease because, he hadn't gotten it. For whatever reason, he was working with them. And he said he treated me kindly for a week or so and moved me to a general hospital. I'm losing my voice, guys. Mr. Kent, who was a surgeon, was prepared to stay with me. The alternative was a dreadful one, because what they're talking about is he thinks that he had leprosy. That's what's going on in this plot. This man who had a white face with dark blotches. He had a super white face. He thought that he had leprosy because he was exposed. He's going back telling the story to Sherlock Holmes and other people. So he's telling the whole story. And, it's hard because I jumped into the end. I know it's hard to understand. So he's telling what happened and why he was hiding in this outbuilding at his father's house, like in the present day. So he said the alternative was a dreadful one: segregation for life among strangers. And that was at 43:33, and that makes me think of the Masons, right? 33 degree, the highest ones, the bad ones, not everybody, and the ones that are doing bad things, and that's what's happening to them. Segregation for life among strangers. That's likely what's happening to them, and that's why that phrase happened at 43:33. And at 43:35, with never a hope of release. Yeah, that's like 35 is POTUS 35, JFK. And he's like, oh, you're never getting out. You're stuck. Let's see. And they were talking about Mr. Kent. So I did that. And it equals 81. Oh, this is an intense one. Oh, and it's in tiny print because I was running out of room. So give me a second. Mr. Kent is 81, and that equals, oh, guess what? Okay, this makes sense. I didn't even connect this. If 43:33, I remember I mentioned the Masons at 33rd degree and being separated for life off who knows where. 81 equals Masons. So Mr. Kent equals 81 equals Masons, crazies, nuts, the fool. Oh my, okay. It equals arrival, red eyes, upset, Guatemala, because I don't know, but I think I remember that there's one of our prisons is down that way, and it might not be in Guatemala, but it's not far off. It's in Central America. I don't know exactly where, but there is a site down there. So it's not just Guantanamo, and I think there's definitely others. There's several others. So anyway, arrival, they get there, red eyes, upset, chain link, the wall, tower, inferno, ball and chain, chokehold, sniper, and I can't read the last one. Anyway, let's end with chokehold. Let's end with that one. Can't read my writing. You know how that is. So he's talking about, he thinks he's had got leprosy, right? Because his face is all mottled and he thinks he's got the symptoms. So he says, absolute secrecy was necessary. And it's interesting because it's at 43:47. And that's the 47 is one of the numbers on the Mason's compass. You know, that's why 47 is everywhere. Everywhere you see 47. So absolute secrecy was necessary because they were secret, right? So it's at 43:47. Or even in this countryside, I would have been dragged to my horrible doom. And remember what our favorite Anon said, they won't be able to walk the streets because, boy, when people find out, that's what we're saying in here, you know? Okay, so, and then he says, why my father has relented, I cannot imagine. And he was wondering why did his father let Sherlock Holmes and his friend come see him? You know, because he thinks he has leprosy and it's a secret and the neighborhood can't find out. The town can't find out. Like he said, he would be dragged to his death. So, I don't know who'd drag him. They'd think they'd get leprosy, whatever. Let's see. Why my father has relented, I cannot imagine. And I was thinking, like, for some, they're judged and they're given another chance. Like, maybe it's like, I don't know. You didn't do a great job, but we're going to give you another chance. You're not going to go to whatever. So I thought that's why he said, why my father has relented, I cannot imagine. And then at 44:18, who knows, but good may come of it. Like giving somebody a second chance, but good may come of it. Let's see. Oh, and then he's talking to, I think a doctor was there. I can't remember if there's a doctor, another person in there. He says, may I ask, sir, if you are an authority on such complaints, oh no, the doctor wasn't there yet. I remember now. Are you with an authority on such complaints, like leprosy, which are, I understand, tropical or semi-tropical in their nature? And it made me think of Gitmo, Guantanamo. He's bringing up tropical and semi-tropical. And then, let's see. I'm sure that you would agree that a second opinion is invaluable. And remember that Jesus is our advocate to God, right? Well, I know they're all part of God, but he advocates for us. So, I mean, that's what I thought when I wrote this. Now, that's what I've always learned. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I always thought he was our advocate. So in other words, like a second opinion is invaluable. Like, yeah, let's get a second opinion on this. So he said at 45:15 for on the fives, the comms, he is ready to advise as a friend. Like he would advise as a friend. His name is Sir James Saunders. So that was the doctor's name that he brought with him. And that's 195. And names in here are always important. Towns, streets, everything. In Sherlock Holmes and lots of things. So that equals Make America Great Again. And gematria proves God. Hidden birth pattern. you know, with the junior, Joseph Patrick and John being twins, which is hidden. It's definitely hidden. You have to figure it out. It's on the 24-hour clock, and I have a video about that explains how they're twin brothers. 195 equals brother and sister. It equals return of the gods, plural. Let's see. Sorry, I have to skip a little bit. Oh, at 45:45, he said, he is in the carriage outside the door. And at 46, he says, a prodigy. Yeah, a prodigy. I was saying it right. And that's what they are. They're all prodigies. They're all like as smart as smart can be, right? Let's see. When I tell my own story to a small audience, in other words, I think it sounds like JFK's testimony about what happened to other people, you know? Like a small audience wouldn't be all of us, but a small audience would be, you know, like, I don't know, senators, the president, I don't know, whoever needs to hear, like, this is what really happened on 11/22/63, you know, for the ones who maybe don't know, you know. Let's see. And Sherlock is talking, and he's like sifting through all this information, and he's saying, so whatever remains, you're sifting through all these information that you bring in when you talk about how you come to the truth of a matter. He says, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. So 46, remember, POTUS 46 and 35, that's JFK. So it was at 46:35. And then, let's see, 46:46, he says, one tries test after test. And we're being tested, like right now. That's what's going on. We're being tested with all these white hat things, fluffy things, and it's going to get so intense, you guys. It's going to look like World War III, and people will probably be in their basements. I don't know. So, but it won't be happening. Okay. So he said, Sherlock says, 3 possible explanations: criminal, incarceration, asylum, segregation. I could think of no other adequate solutions. He's trying to figure out, why would somebody keep someone in a separate building? You know, why would you keep your sons in a separate building? And he's explaining how he came to his conclusion. Okay, I gotta move my notes. He said, if the son had caused like an embarrassment kind of a thing, he said, at 47, that goes back to the Mason's number on the compass, one of them, 47, get rid of the delinquent, like, let's get rid of those high up ones. And he said, or it was insanity, like that's why he was in an outbuilding. Or there was a second, he said that, and there was a second person, a keeper, and he locked the door. And he talked about constraints. Let's see. And the third possibility remains, into which. And I thought, oh, which? Is it the other spelling? I don't know. Okay, I better keep moving on faster. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, he says, the coincidence is a remarkable one, but is it a coincidence? Now, this is the doctor talking. Oh, and he talked about gloves. I'm sorry. I did skip that part. He talked about the butler wore these gloves that were had disinfectant on them. And so disinfectant was mentioned a couple of times. So I did, and it was plural. So disinfectants is 143. And it equals, it's a pattern, and raise the judge. Remember, it's JFK, likely to me, is the birth name way back, is Ray Edward Koceja, Koceja. It's a Croatian name from what one of you guys told me. So disinfectants equals the president and Christ twin. Okay, so it's a pattern, the president and Christ twin. So that's why the word disinfect, I mean, it also matches Melania Trump, but I think it's really for, you know, the president and Christ twin. I mean, there's lots of things that could match, but to me, that's what was the important part. And he said, but is it a coincidence? Are there not subtle forces at work of which we know little? And he said, the young man has suffered terribly. He was full of apprehension about, you know, that he slept in a leper's bed all night. So he was so upset and worried about it. So the young man has suffered terribly since his exposure to the contagion. It may produce a physical effect which stimulates that which it fears. In other words, you're so afraid of something that it happens. And I would not be surprised if that happens. You know, you think about good and good happens. You think about bad, bad happens. It's called the law of attraction. Look that up. The law of attraction. It's what you think and what you believe is what happens. So if you believe you're going to get sick and die young, guess what? You probably will. You know, you got to think happy, positive. I'm going to live a long life, you know, or I'm going to meet the person of my dreams, you know, and just say it. You keep saying it in one way or another. You just say what you want, that like it's happening. I'm going to, or you can always say like it's already happened. I have met the man of my dreams, or, you know, I don't know, like you're making it happen. You're manifesting it. That's the word I'm looking for. Then, I don't know if Sherlock said this or not, but anyway, the lady has fainted because the mom, the poor mom of the poor young man that's been out in this building all this time for a long, long time, faints. She's thinking, I can never see him because go touch him because he's got leprosy. But the doctor's like, he's an expert on it. He's like, no, he doesn't have leprosy. He thought so much about it. He got some disease that, not a disease, but it's some kind of skin condition that ends up looking like something like that. That's what it was. He had a name for it, but I didn't read it. So anyway, so the lady has fainted equals 162, which equals humanity saved. Here comes the bride, us. I am your teacher, and that's who JFK and Junior and all those people will be. They'll be teaching us. Eternal truth. Let's see what else. Introduction, like American Prophet. An American Prophet is, I can't remember if I already mentioned this, but anyway, American Prophet channel I thought was long gone, and I saw them on BitChute, so I've got to catch up with them. And it's definitely a white hat video series, so you've got to watch American Prophet. It's wonderful. It's just absolutely wonderful. It's been on for a long time now. Let's see. The lady has fainted, 162, also equals Robert F. Kennedy. So hello, Bobby. I know you're there. And family reunion. And there's a Clouseau video with that's called Kennedy Family Reunion. That's a great one. And this is only 11 Clouseau videos, so it's easy to find. And it's CLOUS1SEAU. Okay, 162 is also, and the people awake. Let's see, and paradise forever matches. So it's really cool. And live Christ-like is 162. So anyway, so the guy who is narrating the audiobooks for Sherlock Holmes that I'm specifically talking about is Greg Wagland, W-A-G-L-A-N-D, like I've said. And I looked him up on a search just to find out what else he's done. And he's on IMBD, you know, what actors and people have done. And he supposedly was in one movie, but of course there's no photo to go with it. There's no photo. And maybe it was 2005, I don't remember. And it says it was a movie called DOA, Dead on Arrival, right? Okay. So, and you know, I think he's JFK. Anyway, and so I looked at when you search, you also see that he's got lots of other audiobooks. So it's not just Sherlock Holmes, with a whole lot, maybe every one, and on audible.com, and he's got lots of audiobooks. Now listen to the titles. I didn't write them all down, but listen to these titles and see what you think. And they're all by Greg Wagland, Wagland. And it's Warrior of Light, Merely Magic, The Trouble with Magic, Last Christmas in Paris, like the last Christmas, H.G. Wells, Sci-Fi Omnibus, 4 great novels. H.G. Wells, War of the Worlds, right? Where everybody thought that the war was real. And if you haven't heard War of the Worlds, you should give it a listen. Orson Welles narrates it. So, I mean, he narrates this, Greg does in this case, but the original, way back, I don't know what year it was, in the 30s, I don't remember, War of the Worlds, it was written by H.G. Wells, but yeah. But everybody thought it was real. You know, they were listening to the radio, and it sounded like a news broadcast. That's the way it sounds. And so it sounds like aliens are attacking the Earth and we're being overrun. And everybody freaked out when they heard that on the radio. They thought it was real. And that's what's going to happen now. So anyway, The Time Traveler's Guide to Restoration Britain. I thought that was an interesting one. Time travelers, remember, time travel equals John Kennedy. In the Hour of Victory, The Scent of Guilt, bad guys, Bad to the Bone, Metamorphosis, Bliss Uncovered, The Death of Justice, The Prince. Who could that be? The Island of Dr. Moreau. That sounds familiar. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. The Party. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not sure if I got that part right. Forget that. A Fine Night for Dying. The Sands of Mars. And I think Mars is the real hell. It's like the real prison planet. And think about Elton John's song, Rocket Man. Remember how President Trump was always calling Kim Jong-un Rocket Man? And he could be in on the World War III kind of scenario with Russia and China and, maybe Iran. And yeah, he says Mars is cold as hell. And he has a lot of calms in his songs. So anyway, I think I got far enough, didn't I? I don't know. So I got more. Yeah. So, okay. I do have a little bit more. Tiny bit. So the lady has fainted. I did 106. It's 162. And let's see. Oh, and remember when Godfrey fainted off his horse, he ascended and up the steps, and to me it sounded like he went to the, like, what we would think now is like med beds, right? It could be. Only for him it was the opposite, it was a leper hospital. So okay, so I did 162. What is that? I don't know where I wrote 162. Forget that one. And then at the end, I mean, Greg is reading all this, which I'm sure is JFK. Might as well just say JF John and President Kennedy. And he's saying this. He says, read by Greg Wagland for Magpie Audio 2022. Remember, we're supposed to follow the twos. That was one of those things, those comms that we're supposed to do. Thank you for listening. Okay, I know that's weird to even read that part, but so in my head, I was like, okay, I'm going to put this in matrix.org, and I'm going to put in ascend to the med beds. Like what? Like why not? You know, that equals 166, and it equals we can always go back. Like go back to them. You know, it equals resurrection. Okay, ascend to the med beds equals resurrection. Contacting aliens equals 166 and ascend to the med beds. Human struggle, bodily, how about this? Bodily ascension matches ascend to the med beds. Alien disclosure. Alien workshop. Sudden rapture matches. New life will come. Can you believe this? New life will come. Sudden rapture. Safely, quickly. Like all together, you know, safely, quickly. Healing vibration matches. Life in the fast lane, like zoom. Raise frequency. You know, we're always talking about that's healing. It's healing frequencies. Let's see. Welcome to heaven. Love is in the air. Fly, Roths, R-O-T-H-S, fly, which is a favorite and on post. Matches ascend to the med beds. Carolyn Kennedy matches ascend to the med beds. It's 166. Let's see. Mystic power. I think that was it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A viewer of mine, this is so cool. She made a comment. I don't remember which video. So hi. And and she said that she got a t-shirt the day before, and it was it had a quote by John F. Kennedy on it, and it said, "If not now, when?" And her daughter bought her that shirt, and that matches Ascend to the Med Beds. Isn't that cool? I thought that was so cool. Anyway. Oh, and Ascend to the Med Beds 166 equals serial, that's an S, serial brain 2. And if a lot of you probably remember, he used to post, and we used to all decode everything he was posting, and you can see YouTube videos that decoded his posts, because he would post on Reddit, and it was all things that we should try to figure out what he was talking about. Serial brain 2, and it's either Junior JFK, I don't know who it was. Happier than ever matches. Original source. 7 minutes. I thought that was interesting. And Kennedy vision matches. I think that's really cool. I just think that's really cool. So I know it's kind of scatterbrained, that whole bunch of stuff, but I thought you guys would like it, and I didn't want to do the whole thing, because it would have taken like twice as long to do the whole decode on the Blanched soldier. So I hope you don't mind. And anyway, listen to the audiobooks by Greg Wagland on Magpie Audio. I mean, it's on YouTube. So listen to it. You're going to love it. And even if you don't want to decode it, well, you probably will. Or you don't have to do gematria. Just listen to it, and you're going to start hearing double meanings. You'll just hear it right in the stories. So I hope you enjoy it. And like I'm always saying, take care of each other. and love each other no matter what. And we're going to get through this together, you guys. You know, I know it's weird and things are going to get very weird, but it's really okay. Everything's going to be fine. So I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.